Hi, Anita. What a galang. Yeah. I am glad you asked about these reconciliation performance observations, particularly as relates to adolescent PTSD and the terms coincidence, contravention, conspiracy. Reflect on the harmonies of nature, the proportions and accommodations that ensure the stability of existing arrangements. Nature exercises exquisite quality control across generations. Mankind mimics performance standards, spark contravention. Creatures great and small testify to nature's management of the animal life cycle with the same remarkable precision. Consider fractal mathematics. It applies to the direction of plant life. A singular illustration is the mammalian construct of interaction, dependencies, relationships fundamentally critical to individual well-being, social cohesion, and survival of the species. This natural life cycle profile is heavily dependent on parental awareness and the discharge of responsibilities from prenatal to assumption of autonomy, adulthood by the progeny as part of the collective heritage. Nature bears no responsibility of tolerance for deviations from its laws and limitations governing the balance of life. Mankind's most critical propensity towards deviation from natural standards concerns access to levels of pleasure unique to the procreation imperative to be unencumbered by individual responsibility for consequences. These include methods of contraception with increasing probability of negative impact on the ability to conceive, pre-postnatal medical costs and logistics, logical derivatives of congenital disease, deformities, genetic mutations, and associated healthcare complications, more innocuous progressive degradation of paternal associations and the sanctity of the nuclear family profile, levels of general intergenerational cognitive dissonance with respect to social cohesion that is the direct result of the family ties that bind. Responsibility recognizes the stability of natural processes and promote the quality of partnership, emphasizing compliance, thus minimizing negative outcomes such as unwanted pregnancies, abortions, and the associated psychoses, above development of contraventions and adjustment of ever-evolving consequences tantamount to conspiracy against the balance of nature. Then considerations to establish a health baseline minimize exposure to toxic chemicals which pose prenatal risks to the mother and pass through the placenta through breast milk, posing trauma for both mother and child. Manufacturing elements and processes as an important factor in the steady increase in childhood cancers, asthma, abnormalities in brain development, persistent social stress and behavioral disorders, mental illnesses including adolescent PTSD, which require increasingly significant intervention by age 14. Such considerations are further complicated by the predisposition of experts failing facilitation of definitive analyses to conveniently declare the problems as being largely genetic or hereditary. Methods of establishing good health are defined by uncompromising adherence to the design of natural life cycles food chain. Example, breast milk developed over the months of gestation for the specific recipient. Food as comestibles with positive net nutritional value, which supports environmental symbioses and the transfer of knowledge directly associated with these processes, as opposed to coincidental formulation and adjustments of conflicting methodologies. Action is associated with raising healthy children today and preventing a lifetime of chronic health problems in the future. Results depend on a healthy environment, reaffirmation of compliance with natural standards, particularly relating to something good to eat. Children drink more water, breathe more air, and ingest more food than adults do. The issue of reconciliation suggests greater expediency, particularly on an intergenerational trajectory, to proactively address these definitive components of comprehensive trauma rather rather than speculate reactive dependencies on the passive academic methods of intervention and amelioration of chronic conditions or disorders to which contemporary experts are universally inclined. The Toxic Substance Control Act of 1976, TSCA, grandfathered in 62,000 chemicals. Today, thanks to STEM advances, more than 80,000 chemicals are on the market. The EPA has required testing of less than 1% of the chemicals in commerce, with only a very few ever having been restricted due to safety concerns. Define the need. Notice the edges.